Hey YouTube, it's Erin, and this is my 17 to 18 week pregnancy vlog. And I know I said I was gonna do these weekly, but you know, life, pandemic, and also I've been feeling a little bit like I'm holding my breath just slightly, just trying to get on the other side of the 18, what actually technically it's my 19 week morphology ultrasound, which we are having done next Wednesday. So I'm just I feel like I'm holding my breath a little to get to the other side of that ultrasound, to just be assured that everything is okay with the baby and with, you know, obviously just like how things are progressing and the anatomy and everything. So I think I'll feel a little bit more, I'll be able to let my guard down just a little bit, I think, after that. And we're also hoping to find out the sex of the baby next week as well. So if that's the case and we're able to do that, I think that'll be two things that'll be really helpful for me to sort of embrace the journey. If you haven't watched my other videos, you won't know, but we've had basically a very long journey through infertility. And so the fact that we're pregnant and at this point is obviously super exciting, but also I'm still just slightly guarded. So I'm really trying to lean into the videos. I've been making other videos outside of these. I've made one showing the baby's heartbeat on our at-home Doppler. But again, it's just like, I want to share them, but I'm also guarding my heart a little bit right now. Okay, so some updates for you. So as I mentioned, I am currently 18 weeks pregnant, almost 19 weeks. So my weeks turn over on Wednesdays. Today is Saturday, so I'm about 18 and a half weeks, which is crazy to think. So almost halfway, which is so nuts. Yeah, it's nuts. I think in many cases, or in many ways, I've been, like I said, kind of just like, you know, in a state of pause, and the weeks are flying by, and I'm not necessarily tracking just how fast that time is going. So it's actually moving very, very quickly. So some updates for you. I'll start with sort of doctor's appointments, just to fill you in on that. So as I mentioned in my last video, I had been referred back to thrombosis. Essentially, it's like hematology, but basically a blood doctor, because I have had a history of blood clots, and through my pregnancy with Willow, I had to do daily injections of Fragmin, which is a blood thinner. And I did get referred back to thrombosis to basically see if I would need to take blood thinners again this pregnancy. And I was really hoping I didn't need to do it. And for the reasons I explained in my last video, I was a bit nervous about, having to have a forced induction versus being able to just go into labor on my own. So I have like good news and bad news. So the bad news is she did recommend that I go back on Fragmin for this pregnancy. So I am back to my lovely injections every day. So I have to do one of these needles every single day. And the good news is though, she said that I can stay on just one dose every day from now until 6 weeks postpartum. Whereas with my first pregnancy with Willow, I had to do 2 injections per day as the pregnancy progressed. So the good news is I only have to do 1. So it's like 1 jab a day, not 2. However, it was a little disappointing just finding out that we had to do it. It's not the most fun thing to do. It's not the needle that hurts, it's actually the liquid. When it goes in, it's very burny. And so anyway, but if it keeps me and the baby safe and healthy and avoids me getting a blood clot, I'm all for it. So the good news is though, she did say, so in addition to just having to do it once a day, she also said that I would be able to go into labor on my own because the dose is small enough. It's not like this first time where I was on 2 doses a day. I wouldn't have to do the induction, which is super great. Like, I'm so grateful for, and hopefully that remains true. Obviously, I'm not getting my hopes up or setting myself up for disappointment, but I'm really hoping that that's the case. The other thing I was gonna say is, so I also found out through this set of appointments with the thrombosis clinic that I actually have something called a prothrombin gene mutation, which I have never been told before up till this point that I have it. And when I did some research on it, apparently this gene mutation can actually cause recurrent miscarriages. So it was a little overwhelming to get the information that I had this disorder, and I actually have a disorder. I knew something was wrong. Obviously, my doctors have known something is going on with my blood and hormones and clotting, but this was the first time someone actually put a name to it. So that was a little bit interesting. So it doesn't really mean a whole lot for me, other than the fact that like when my hormones are changing and shifting, like with pregnancy or birth control, I'm more prone to getting clots. And that's how we actually identified it, because I had my first clot when I was on birth control when I was younger. So anyway, so that was kind of interesting to find that out. And also slightly frustrating, I'll be honest, because I've been to I've been to the fertility clinic in my city multiple times. I've brought them an enormous amount of research on different blood clotting disorders that I wanted them to investigate with me. I've been to 2 hematologists, I've been to the thrombosis clinic, and this is the first time someone put a name to it. So it's a little frustrating, but it also could be the explanation as to why I could get pregnant but couldn't stay pregnant. So kind of interesting. But moving on, so I'll get to symptoms in a second, but in non-symptom related baby news, we've been starting to stock up on kind of some of the essentials. So things like diapers and wipes and, nursing pads, baby, laundry detergent, like all those little things that you just need. And especially with diapers, we're trying to actually get ahead on some of those things. So we've been ordering them every single week, and when they come in, just putting them in a stockpile. So our goal is to have enough of those things pre-purchased that we don't need to think about it in the moment. So that's been kind of fun, but I still, other than the items I showed in my last video, I still haven't bought anything else really. Actually, not really, I just haven't, in terms of like clothes and other things like that. We haven't bought yet any of our big stuff either. Like we haven't got our crib or stroller or anything. So we're waiting until after next week, and hopefully, like I said, everything is good, and then we can dive in a little bit more on that. Okay, so things related to me. I have been feeling so much better. I mentioned in my last video that I stopped progesterone, and I'm now far enough away from that I actually feel so great. I feel like all the nausea is gone. I still get like very small twinges of it if I get hungry, but like nothing compared to the first trimester. Like that was rough, and actually a bit of my second was rough as well. So all of that is great. I feel super great. I do have some insomnia now, which I don't know if it's so much insomnia or just like the opposite of deep fatigue that I had before. It's just a little harder to fall asleep, and I'm finding it like as I get bigger, it's like getting a little harder to get comfortable. But I did get a pregnancy pillow. I think it's called the Snoogle, and it's been helping a ton to sleep at night. We've been trying to be a lot more, because my first and part of my second trimester, I was feeling so bad. I was also so nervous about miscarriage that I didn't do anything. I was like literally a cocoon, and that's sort of how I existed. I put myself, into like a bubble. It was almost like I was like bubble wrapping myself and staying in one spot. And I do find now that we're in a space where things are progressing and I feel a lot better. We've been doing a bit more. So we're trying to walk at least 10,000 steps every day and starting there. I might increase some of that physical activity as we go, but trying to still keep it pretty light. I'm still just I'm just a nervous person around this whole thing. So, but otherwise, like, changes have been great. I did notice when I was on the progesterone that I'm prone to getting skin tags, which if you don't have them, you can just like look up what that is. But when my hormones are elevated, my frequency or like the number of skin tags I have like goes through the roof. I don't know why. I haven't researched why that happens. But after like so when I was on the progesterone, I had so many, it was actually making me very self-conscious. But then post progesterone, those have gone away again. So I'm feeling grateful about that, because that was not a fun thing. I mean, I get it, they're fine, it's not a big deal, but you know, when there's something like on yourself that's a bit different, it's hard not to feel like slightly self-conscious about it. Otherwise, the other thing I've noticed, because we're walking so much, I also was dealing with a lot of sciatica. So I had intense pain like through my butt into my legs. Anytime we would walk, if I sat too much, like too long in one spot, I'd feel really bad as well. Even laying in bed, like over time, it was actually a bit better because I'd lay on my side, but I found that was kind of bothering me as well. But that is getting a little bit better now that we're actually like walking 10,000 steps every day, and I'm trying to really move my position a lot. So not just sit at my desk all day, as an example. So that's been good. Otherwise though, like I feel pretty good. I feel like, you know, like I said, we've turned a corner on my own symptoms and how I feel. The baby, according to my app, is, I think, the size of I always forget where we're at. I think it's the size of a grapefruit right now. I'd have to look. I'll look and I might insert it into the video, but I think it's the size of a grapefruit. Willow's really excited because I told her that at this time, the baby can actually hear things that are happening on the outside, according to this app. And so she's been talking to my belly a lot more, which is really cute. And I think she was, in the very beginning, a little worried about how the baby would like change her position in the family, specifically with like, you know, mom. But she's actually so excited now. And I think as I get bigger and, you know, she can see it, she's just getting like a lot more of like a bond. This is making me like all teary. Anyway, so that's really sweet. I'm not feeling the baby move a ton. I'm feeling it like a little tiny bit, but I do have my placenta's in the front. So I think I mentioned before, the ultrasound technician told me that it might take me a little longer before I feel it. But I am feeling like every once in a while, and depending on like the position I'm laying in or whatever, I do feel like the little movements. And some days I feel it a lot more than other days. So anyway, so that's been sweet. I can't wait till I can feel the baby move every day though, because I think it'll just give me peace of mind. But I will say having the Doppler is so helpful, because anytime I'm like even a little nervous, I just go and check the heartbeat and make sure everything is good. But yeah, so the plan moving forward is to do these weekly, but I don't want to promise, because clearly it's really related to, you know, kind of how I feel, both emotionally and mentally. And I find, like I said, whenever I'm in a space of kind of holding my breath and being a little bit more nervous about it, making the videos feels a little bit, like, I guess it's just like, I've been down this path so many times now, that I don't want to really get my hopes up, even though, I mean, I'm almost halfway pregnant, like halfway to, you know, to having this baby. At some point, I'm gonna have to just accept that this is happening. But yeah, so I really am hoping that next week, if everything goes well, and, you know, I'm hoping that just like solidifies the last pieces of it that I need to feel like we can move forward, and I can just like embrace it, and, you know, all that good stuff. So the plan is, if we do find out next week what the sex of the baby is, we're going to do a little, you know, kind of gender reveal, and we will do that with Willow, because of COVID and having being in Canada, I can't take anyone to any of my appointments. I have to do all of them alone, including the ultrasound appointments. So I haven't really been able to involve my family in a lot of what's going on, including my fiance. So like Jason can't come with me either. So it's kind of been a little hard. And I feel like I don't want to experience a lot of these things without them. And so what we're going to do is ask the ultrasound technician that if she does see the sex of the baby, to put it in an envelope for us, for me at the appointment. And then we're going to do a special kind of thing on the weekend to find out all together. So hopefully that happens. Hopefully she can see, like the ultrasound technician can see what it is. And yeah, I think it'll just be a way for me to involve my whole family, you know, like my little family. Because yeah, up to now I kind of had to do everything on my own. Not by choice, because of COVID and the pandemic. Okay, so I know this is probably long enough, but that's really the update. So before I go, I'll show you my belly. And I actually brought the measuring tape down this time so I can measure it. I will say we did measure it 2 weeks ago, I think, and I was 36.5 inches around. And we did measure last night and I was 38, but I'll just measure again to see. But the belly is growing, and I'm curious to know what you think ahead of the gender or the sex reveal. I'm curious to know what you think we're having, whether you think it's a boy or a girl. Feel free to guess in the comments below, just based on like the way, you know, my belly looks or whatever. Feel free to ask questions too if you have some old wives' tales that might work. So anyway, okay, let me back this up. So here is the belly. I'll turn to this side. This might be a bit easier to see. So as you can see, getting a lot bigger. Definitely, so is my butt. So we're kind of growing out this way and this way, which is kind of funny. And then this is with my pants pulled up. And this is the belly. So from the side, you can see it's getting a lot bigger. From the front, my line is getting a lot darker, like even up here. Don't remember if I had that with Willow. I remember always having it here, but it's definitely going up too. So let me just grab this quickly and measure. So we are at about 37. So when I measured last night, I might have been in a little bit more of a bloated state. So we're at about 37 inches around. But yeah, baby's definitely getting bigger, which is crazy. Feels a little surreal to have this growing belly. But anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching, for your support, and your patience with me as I navigate this first part of our pregnancy. And I do plan, like I said, to share a lot more as we go. It's just getting over that hump emotionally, and keep your fingers crossed for us that everything is really looking great next week. And I'll keep you all posted. Okay, bye.